What's up, everybody? It is Friday. That means it's another edition of the Fantasy Q&A show. We are glad you're here. It's me, your man MG Marcus Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio and the specialists over there, the cast of dozens. Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause. Woo! We appreciate all your efforts, the cast of dozens that help us put on all of these shows across the NFL digital network each and every single day. Week 9, off to a rousing start. A game that we didn't think was going to be very competitive turned out to be a little bit more interesting than I think we anticipated last night.
Yeah, we were talking about it being a rout potentially early on. It was tied at halftime. It was a competitive game throughout.
Absolutely. The Eagles do, though, prevail. 29-17, the final score. Philadelphia improves to 8-0 on the season. Quick check of your fantasy top scorers across that game. Jalen Hurts gave you just over 20 fantasy points. Miles Sanders, 93 rush yards and a touchdown. That was good for 15.3. Dallas Goedert, a huge game. 24 fantasy points for the Eagles tight end. On the Houston side, just under 12 points for Davis Mills. Dameon Pierce, 139 rushing yards, good for 13.9 fantasy points. Chris Moore, bit of a surprise in the receiving category, 14.5 points for him. Let's dive into that game, though, a little bit. A name you did not see on that board, though, is Devonta Smith, and we were going through his Pro Football Reference page where he has 6 nicknames. So whether you call him the Slim Reaper or Skinny Batman or DVS or the Rubber Band Man, what did you think of his performance last night?
I did not love it. Just 2 targets. He scored fewer than 5 fantasy points. He's now been in single digits in 2 straight games, less than 50 yards in 3 straight in 4 of his last 5. I think Devonta Smith has to kind of go in the same category as a Gabe Davis type, where the ceiling is very high. We've already seen him have a couple of really big games this season, but the floor is pretty low, especially because they're going to run the ball so well. A.J. Brown is going to get his most weeks. Dallas Goedert's also a factor there. So don't love what we've been getting lately out of Devonta Smith, but I don't know if I would ever be brave enough to get him out of my lineup.
No, I don't think you can sit him. It's just sort of the nature of the wide receiver position. It's very volatile week to week, and especially on a team that has a lot of weapons. And then throw in the fact that the Texans were pretty feisty last night. Yeah. That probably had something to do with it. Speaking of the Texans, though, Dameon Pierce continues to be a guy that it is hard to keep on your bench. His best career game with 27 carries, 139 rushing yards. He looked very good against a tough Eagles defense. And I think it just reinforced the idea that he has completed the takeover of the backfield. Sure, occasionally you see Rex Burkhead get in there and maybe get a target or get a carry, but this is pretty much Dameon Pierce's show. He looked awesome last night, and I do love that Lovie Smith has backed up what he said early in the season when he said, we want to get Dameon Pierce 20 touches a game. They did that and then some. Would have been nice to get the touchdown, but I feel like, with 139 yards, asking for that touchdown is probably a bit of a quibble, but Pierce went from a guy who early in draft season, we thought, hey, man, this is a nice late round sleeper, to, hey, man, the ADP's got out of control, to now here in week 9, it's like, I feel like we got it right with Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, and I know me and you for the last few weeks have been saying this guy's an RB1. I think he's climbing, he's just going higher and higher in the RB1 standings right now. And I think the takeover the last couple of weeks, seeing him play when they were losing and just clearly in passing down situations, seeing him in the 2-minute drill, that was the last hurdle he had to clear.
Between Pierce, Kenneth Walker, and Breece Hall before he got hurt, the rookie running backs, man, they have been all right in 2022. All right, we always are answering your questions. I mean, that's the name of the show, right? Fantasy Q&A. You have Q's, we have A's. LFG, you can hit us up on Twitter at NFL Fantasy. This one from Casey, who wants to know, start Tua or Aaron Rodgers, which is a question that in 2020 or 2021 would have been ridiculous, but not now.
Yeah, both of these are starts in my Start 'em Sit 'em article this week, but Tua is the first quarterback, and that means he's the top start of the week for me at the position. I think Tua doesn't get enough credit. I mean, I tweeted this week that he's throwing a good deep ball, and the replies would make you think what I said. People do not want to give Tua his flowers, but he deserves it. He deserves the respect. He's playing great, and he's in a good matchup.
I don't understand why people don't want to give Tua the love this year. I mean, yes, we had those tweets early in the season where he looked like he was struggling throwing the deep ball, but he's been very good. The upside is so much bigger than Aaron Rodgers right now. The passing weapons are so much bigger and better than what Aaron Rodgers has right now. So that's an easy call for me as well. It is Tua all day. Moving on to the next one. This one from Chi, who asks, if Keenan Allen is fully healed, would you start him over Chris Godwin?
Well, this is a moot point because Keenan Allen is not fully healed. Like, he has been missing practice. I want Keenan Allen back in our fantasy lives. I wrote about him as a start. He's in a great matchup, but he's banged up right now. He's missed practice. I would go Chris Godwin.
So the if is doing a heavy lift here, and so I'm gonna answer the question as asked. If Keenan Allen is fully healed, yeah, I would start him over Chris Godwin. I think the upside is there. He was going to be the primary target, whereas Godwin probably splitting some of those opportunities with other people in that Tampa Bay passing offense. We know that when Keenan Allen is there, he is the guy that Justin Herbert is targeting primarily. You mentioned the matchup. It is great against the Atlanta Falcons. You see there giving up the most fantasy points per game to the wide receiver position. So, yeah, Chi. If Keenan Allen was fully healed, I would start him over Chris Godwin. But as Florio said, it doesn't look like he's anything close to fully healed. He's been trending in the wrong direction all week long. So the decision may actually be made for you by the time you get to Sunday. All right, next one up. This one coming from Shep. Saquon is on bye. There are a lot of really good running backs on bye this week. I need to choose between starting CEH or Eno Benjamin. Does DeAndre Hopkins return boost Benjamin, or will CEH have 2 touchdowns and 24 yards? Am I too optimistic? Shep, I understand your pain right here. I understand your plight. But where are you going between CEH and Eno?
I feel like the answer to that question is just yes across the board.
Right.
I would go CEH with the caveat. Right now, James Conner's very much so up in the air. Like, he's been practicing on a limited basis, but he's done that the last couple of weeks as well. At some point, he's going to return. I think this is one of those situations where if Conner plays, you obviously make the pivot to CEH. But if Conner sits this week, I'm fine going Eno Benjamin there. But I do think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 24 yards and 2 touchdowns, very much so in the range of possibilities.
Well, that's absolutely in the range of possibilities for CEH this week. And I 100% agree with you. If James Conner can't go, then it's Eno Benjamin for me, because he's going to get the majority of the workload there in Arizona. And look, I know we've talked about the matchups and stuff here, but I just think that Eno's the guy right now. CEH is very much in a weird timeshare when you've got Isaiah Pacheco there, you've got Jerick McKinnon there. It's just been really hard to figure out his usage. So there it is. If James Conner starts, then you're going CEH. If not, then it's Eno Benjamin.
I can't wait till we get like a tweet or something that CEH is going to start this week, and then he goes for 24 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And 2 touchdowns. Then everybody's going to go berserk like, get CEH back in your lineup, man. Like, to quote Beverly Hills Cop, I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe again. We are just getting started here. Coming up after the break, we are going to be answering more of your questions, of course. Plus, we're talking some sleepers, so stick around for that on the Fantasy Q&A. It's time for Game Changers, presented by Visa. Anyone can change the game. This is the part of the show where we talk about sleepers. So who is yours for Week 9?
Julio Jones, who I know last week it doesn't look like he did a whole lot on paper, but just seeing him back out there on the field for the first time in a month, playing a season-high percent of snaps, it was great to see. He scored his first touchdown as a member of the Bucs, and he had 3 targets in the red zone. That stands out because that's where the Bucs have really been struggling this year. They've been fine moving the ball downfield, but they've stalled out a bunch the closer they get to the goal line. So if Julio's going to be used there, I think he's a sleeper. And it's never been a question of if Julio could still play. At least I believe that he is still he's not what he used to be, but he's still a very talented wide receiver. It's just a matter of if he could be healthy and be on the field, and right now he's both.
And part of it has been, I know the Rams defense is good on paper. Their offense has put them in bad situations, so it's been tough for them this year. Talked in the previous segment about Keenan Allen trending the wrong direction. Mike Williams, we know, is out, so that opens up the door for Josh Palmer to step in and play a big role here. Mentioned before, the Falcons have been incredibly vulnerable when it comes to opposing wide receivers, but Josh Palmer there, the second most targets, receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns among Chargers wideouts since week 2. I mean, some of that is owed to the fact that we haven't seen Keenan Allen really in an extended role since the first week of the season, but it also stands to reason that Josh Palmer has been earning targets, and this week he will probably earn a lot of targets just because the Chargers are very short on pass catchers. Let's get back to some more of your questions. As always, you can hit us up on Twitter at NFL Fantasy. We try to answer as many of them as we can here. The rest of them go to our pal Aaron Tan because he doesn't eat peas. Just saying. Eat some green vegetables, dog. Jeff Barnett wants to know, easy question. Start Kadarius Toney. I know what you're going to say.
No questions asked. Finally, right? No, I think it depends on your options. As excited as I am for Kadarius Toney, and I truly forgot that we've actually even seen him play some this year because he only touched the ball like 3 times. He looked good all 3 times, though. I think the Chiefs are going to have incentive to try to get him involved. I'm curious to see if Mahomes and Reed draw up plays specifically for Toney, but it depends on your options. Like, I'm not starting him over anyone that's getting, like, weekly consistent volume, something like that.
I was going to say, I think you can start him in deeper leagues, maybe 12-team leagues, like Florio said, depending on your situation. 14-team leagues, sure, man, all bets are off at this point. Kansas City's had a whole week to get him acclimated. They had a bye last week. Andy Reid is usually amazing coming off the bye. So there could be a couple of wrinkles in there that I'd be interested to watch. Next one, this is from Wes. Says, guys, what should I do with Jonathan Taylor? Should I trade him or just keep him? He's been a headache. We feel your pain. We've been talking about Jonathan Taylor, I feel like, a lot recently.
Yeah, I just traded him for him in a league, and I know it's looking like he's not going to play this week, and I'm fine with that because I wouldn't be looking to trade Jonathan Taylor right now. His value is probably never going to get lower than it is right now. He's not going to play this week. It's looking like he's dealing with an ankle injury. He was just voted as the biggest bust of the season so far through the first 8 weeks on Fantasy Live. Like, yeah, anyone trying to get him from you right now is giving you, what, 50 cents on the dollar, if that. So I know it kind of stinks, but I would just ride it out with Jonathan Taylor.
I would too, and I think the trade of Nyheim Hines opens up a few more opportunities. Curious to see whether or not Sam Ehlinger long-term decides he likes dumping it off to the running back. But even in the rare cases when he does, Hines is no longer there to take those target opportunities away. So I feel like when Taylor is healthy, he's back to being a 3-down back. He's probably going to be playing in the 2-minute offense. So I know it hasn't been great, but I do think it's going to get better for him.
Ian Rappaport just tweeted that he is officially out this week.
All right, so then that's settled for this week then. By the way, go get Deion Jackson.
Yep.
If he's out there on your waiver wire, go pick him up. One more from Kid Phantom. He says, for his flex spot, Chris Olave or Leonard Fournette. This is a really tough call this week.
This is like the upside versus floor play, I think. I would go with Leonard Fournette, who brings a safer floor than Chris Olave. I know Olave brings a high ceiling because of all the air yards he sees, but it's not like Fournette doesn't bring a high ceiling in his own right. The guy finished as a top 12 running back one week with -3 rushing yards because of how much he's involved in the passing game. I know Rachaad White has become a little bit of a factor as of late, but I think when you have a team like the Rams who are going to be just throwing Aaron Donald in Tom Brady's face all week, I expect a lot of dump-offs.
And Leonard Fournette has kind of become that case study of how much more valuable a target is than a carry. The fact that he keeps his value, still remains a solid RB1 despite the fact that the Bucs can't run the football. And, you know, again, he is among the team leaders there in receptions and targets and all that stuff. I think you go with Leonard Fournette because the floor is steady, and if the Bucs can generate something on the ground, then the ceiling gets a little bit higher from there. We are not done. We still have a Monday Night Football game to preview. It is the Ravens and the Saints. Stick around for that and a little bit more. Some more of your questions next on the Fantasy Q&A show. Looking ahead to Monday Night Football, it is the Baltimore Ravens heading down to New Orleans to take on the Saints. We're going to talk about some guys from either side of this matchup. On the Baltimore side, who do you have your eye on?
Isaiah Likely, who is definitely in play as a sleeper this week. Mark Andrews left TNF last week, did not practice to start this week. I know this is a Monday night game, so he still has time to return, but even if he does, I think Likely could be a sleeper with no Rashad Bateman out there. They just need pass catchers in Baltimore right now. But if you are the Mark Andrews owner, even if you have to overpay, I think it's worth trying to get Isaiah Likely. If you don't have him on your roster right now, just trying to get him because you don't want that headache of like, what if Andrews suits up or not? I don't have another option on Monday night. So if you have Likely, you can then just slot him in Andrews' place.
That's the worst part of having this game on Monday night. You are waiting till the last moment, and if he's not there, then you're really going to be hurting. You talk about the Ravens needing pass catchers. That means Devin Duvernay. And I know it's a situation where the floor is potentially very low for him, but the ceiling is pretty decent if he can hit it there. We know Rashad Bateman is gone for the rest of the year. He's going to have foot surgery, so that means more opportunities for Duvernay in this offense, and the Ravens cannot live on Lamar Jackson rushing the football alone. They've got injuries in their backfield as well, so they got to get him involved some kind of way. So if you're looking for a sleeper wide receiver, Duvernay could be the answer for you. On the Saints side, who are you paying attention to?
Chris Olave, and I know we said last segment that we would start Leonard Fournette over him, but that's because that's league winner Lenny. But in other instances, I would be very bullish to start Chris Olave this week. He's second in the air yards this season, behind only Tyreek Hill, but he leads the NFL in air yards per target, and he gets a matchup this week against the Ravens, who I know they've been playing a little bit better as of late in that secondary, but they've still allowed more catches of 20-plus air yards than any team. So this is a week where Olave has a chance to just really eat.
So Chris Olave gets a lot of looks from Andy Dalton. So does Alvin Kamara. And you pointed it out earlier this week. Yes, the touchdowns that he scored last week against the Raiders were great. What was probably more reassuring was the number of targets that he got from Andy Dalton. And it's something that we're seeing a lot more of with Dalton than we did with Jameis Winston. And now that it looks like Dalton is going to be the starter for the rest of the year, Alvin Kamara starts to get back some of that value that we hoped he was going to have when we drafted him. So the upside seems to be there. I don't think you're going to get 40 points out of him this week against Baltimore, but I do think the floor has become a lot more stable week to week for Alvin Kamara. Let's get back to some more of your questions. You hit us up on the Twitter machine at NFL Fantasy. This one comes from Sebastian, who wants to know, should I start Khalil Herbert or Jacoby Myers as a flex?
This might sound like a cop-out answer. I think it depends what you need. Like, if you just need like a safe 10 to 12 points, I feel like Khalil Herbert is the guy. He's been getting a lot of usage in that Bears run game and some usage in the pass game. Jacoby Myers, though, is the upside play. He's got a tough matchup on paper. He's been a little up and down as of late, but when he gets going, he can put up a lot of numbers.
I'm going to say Khalil Herbert here just because I think this Bears-Dolphins matchup has the potential to be a little bit more higher scoring. We know the Dolphins can be explosive. The Bears' offense has looked a lot more fun lately, and Herbert is getting some run. The Dolphins' run defense has been shaky, so I'm going to lean Herbert here, but I don't think you can go wrong really with either one. This one from Mr. James. Is Kyren Williams a good or bad waiver wire grab right now?
I say good as long as you're not dropping anyone substantial for him, because you could just get him right now for nothing, literally off the waiver wire, put him on the end of your bench, and see what happens with the Rams running backs this week. Like, Cam Akers is back at practice, but last week it was Ronnie Rivers, best name in football, by the way, leading them in carries and targets. We've seen it just be a revolving door. Maybe he's the guy that they try to get going this week, and if that's the case, he's already on your roster, and if not, you just drop him.
That's the thing. I think it's worth it just because it's low risk, right? I mean, you're not expecting to just plug him in the lineup right away. I wouldn't advise that. But if you're going to pick him up, just take a wait-and-see attitude and then go forward from there, then, yeah, absolutely. It's worth the risk there. One more. This from J.D. Rodriguez. Wants to know, Kyle Pitts or Gerald Everett?
They are playing each other this
They
week,
are.
and I think both of them are very much so in play, but I'm going to follow my heart here. I'm going to go Kyle Pitts.
I've had my heart broken too many times this year. I'm going to say Gerald Everett because, one, we know that the Chargers have a more consistent pass volume, and with no Mike Williams, likely no Keenan Allen, I think there's more targets here for Gerald Everett. I just feel like after last week, we are set up for a Kyle Pitts letdown, you know?
Oh, yeah. It definitely could be the case. Austin Eckler missed practice yesterday, too. If he sits as well, then I'll switch my answer and I say Gerald Everett because he's going to get all the time.
Keep an eye on the Austin Eckler practice reports, too, because that could really change how that whole situation goes for the Chargers. Hey, we have a new segment here on the show. It's called the Fantasy Hotline. It's an actual phone line. You can call and leave a message. I know that's weird for certain demographics because you just are used to texting. You actually have to use your voice and leave us a voicemail message. But we're going to play some of them here on the show. In fact, we got one right now. We got a voicemail from Thomas. Here's what he had to say.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Thomas from Seattle, Washington. Go Hawks. So early Wednesday morning, I woke up to drop Gerald Everett and accidentally dropped Gabe Davis. I notified everybody in my league immediately. Should I be able to re-pick him back up? Please answer. Much appreciated. Thanks.
All right, Thomas. Yeah, I think at some point you play fantasy long enough, you're going to hit that wrong button. You're going to drop the wrong player. Should Thomas get a do-over on this one?
I think this is an answer that the internet is going to get angry at me for, but yes, I think he should. He made a human mistake. He acknowledged it immediately, sent a message to everyone in his league, was like, listen, I clearly wasn't trying to drop this guy that I start each and every week. I made a mistake. I clicked the wrong button. It happens. I personally would be in favor of letting him re-pick up that player, but I know there's a lot of cutthroat fantasy players out there that would disagree.
I think it's okay. I would say, though, in this case, I really do think it has to be a league vote. I think you put it out to the league members
That's
as
fair.
a whole, and you kind of democratize the process. If the league votes in favor, saying, hey, yeah, it's all good, then you let him pick Gabe Davis back up. If the league votes and says, sorry about your luck, then sorry about your luck. I would tell you this. I would vote in favor of you, Thomas. But I do think, it should be put out to the league and let them kind of figure it out.
I think that with almost any fantasy league dispute, it should be up to the league vote. The
Right.
commissioner should not have all the power. It shouldn't just be a free-for-all. It should just be like, hey, let's vote.
Right, exactly. I mean, it would be like if some really rich person bought a social media site, fired everybody, and decided, I'm going to make all the decisions myself.
We wouldn't want that.
I'm just spitballing here. I have no actual examples of something like that happening. Anyway. Thank you for your call. Please give us a call, though. The number there on the screen, you can give us a call and leave your voicemails. There it is. Put it back up there again. 805-NFL-QA61. I would tell you what the numbers for that are, but you have a phone. You can figure it out for yourself. You guys are smart, intelligent people. I have faith in you. By the way, we appreciate that you guys watch and listen to all these shows. As always, if you subscribe to one, you will get all of them in your feed all throughout the week. Plus, you can catch us as we stream in the NFL Fantasy app, in the NFL Fast channels, and on YouTube at youtube.com/NFL Fantasy Football. Be sure to check us out on Sunday as well for Fantasy Game Day that kicks off at noon Eastern, taking you right up until kickoff. We appreciate you watching the Q&A show. He's Mike. I'm Marcus. Enjoy Week 9. Talk to you next week.